All right, everybody. Welcome to a brand new Morning Time Poker Live podcast. My name's Joey. I'm Money K Chicago Joey. Before we get into it, guys, I want to let you know I had Jane. I don't actually know how many players we got out here today, but PL University and Upswing Poker is closing on October 9th. Special offer below. 15 bonus videos from your man, Big Poppy. For people that sign up with the link description below. Also got the tournament course below too. If you want to potentially win $1.6 million, like today's guest, a man who has gotten me to whip out my glass of wine at 10 a.m. in the morning time because we're having a celebration right now. He's a man who I've known for many years now. He's a man who I met running through the bar. I don't even know if this was the nightclub at the Palms. Drunk out of his fucking mind, but having the time of his life during your event, Svzff celebration when he final tabled the main event. A man who I've seen grinding every summer in the World Series of Poker, always grinding, always getting after it, always working hard, always putting out there on social media, grinding hard, working hard, having some scores, and then finally, I couldn't believe it myself. During the last Sunday, I see this kid. I see him. He says he's 2 of 40 at the WCOOP Main Event final table. All of a sudden, it goes down more. Chip leader at the final table. And then what do you know? The man takes it down for $1.6 million, which is the score of a lifetime in an online tournament. Just seems unbelievable to me. That's impossible to win that much money in an online tournament. We're joined by my buddy, Steven van Zadelhoff, a.k.a. Svzff. Try to say that 10 times fast on Poker Stars. What's up, Steven? Welcome officially to the podcast, Poppy.
Poppy! Ready. We got him. We got him, kid. 15 years of grinding, I think, and we got him.
What's going on? How you feeling?
Very good. There you go. Cheers, my man.
Cheers to my friends. Cheers, everybody out there. If you're drinking a glass of wine, if you're drinking Jack Daniels, that's my Monday Night Out the bike sponsor. Big shout out to you, man. Go back, have a shot, have a drink, and yeah, man. Kind of welcome to the pod, man. How's it going? How you feeling? What you been doing since the big win?
Thank you. I'm feeling great. We did some days of celebration, of course. Some champagne was involved and some other drinks that I don't remember properly. But it was fun. And day after, we went for a good dinner to chill out and let it all sink in. And yeah, and days after, lots of interviews and stuff. It was fun. And now I'm back to the grind for the last 3 days, something like that. So.
Scale of 1 to 100, how drunk and out of line would you say?
I have a bad connection, I think. Or you have. Now you're back, I think. Say that again.
Am I lagging on your end? Does my quality look okay?
No, you were gone. You were like laggy. I don't know how it is for the rest, but now you seem to be back. But yeah. Okay.
It could be mine. I don't know. This internet, I've been trying to restart and stuff like that. So if I'm having an issue, if people in the chat, you let me know how my quality is. Let me know. If not, I'm going to restart real quick. I'll leave Steven to talk to himself and flex for you guys and tell a good story about going out and having fun. But for yourself.
Yeah, or I can restart my router. I can switch connection, but then I'm gone for a bit. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm the one lagging. Listen, Steve, I'm going to give you a question. You answer the question. I'm going to restart my mic. The question is, tell people what you were doing the night after. Give them a little in-depth into what exactly the celebration was like.
The celebration was, a lot of fun for the first couple hours, and then the champagne started to kick in, and I don't remember everything anymore, but that's a good thing. That doesn't sound like you should do it every day, but for every now and then, it's fine. I woke up, I think, with a good headache, so I feel like I celebrated properly. I will tell the story that Joey referred to in the intro. The celebration we had in Vegas for Joris' final table of the main event was on the rooftop of the Ghost Bar, and I only remembered there that I wanted to warm up a bit, so I was handing out shots, but we didn't have a proper tray. So I had a cooking pan, and I put the shots in there, and I was going around the house offering people shots, taking one for myself and then handing out one. So that's why Joey saw me a little bit overexcited on that rooftop. But yeah, that's all good. That needs to be done. I can answer questions from the chat. Actually, I have it open here. So people asking me if I am handing out percentages for my next one. I don't think actually that I will have any percentages left in the next one. I should probably be a bit more careful with handing out percentages as we kind of know this story now. I can tell that story once more. So Joey doesn't have to ask me. I got stuck with only the last 16% of my action because the day before I forgot to put a couple swaps in my administration. I think I'm gone now too. I will check on, I think I'm still live, okay. And Joey should come back, that's good. So the day before, I was doing swaps, I sold a bit and I was doing swaps. And then after my session of like 12 hours of playing poker, being super tired, whatever, I did the numbers and I forgot to put in the last 7 and 5%. So this is what I realized when I woke up the next day. It happens. It wasn't the best.
Please tell me this works fine.
Hi, Joey.
Hello. Okay, I restart. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about the delay, technical difficulties. This apartment I'm in right now, I do not know what's up with this internet sometimes. It just kind of craps out. I'm not sure what's happening. But is it fine now? Are we better?
It's not me? My internet's fine, or stuttering a bit.
Sometimes it works. I restart the router twice before it actually doesn't lag or the quality's better. So yeah, people in the chat, please let me know. And
I have to say, sometimes I have to restart myself a couple times in a day before I properly start to work. So it's normal, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tilting, man. I don't get, the only thing that really tilts me is internet lag. That's it. Nothing else tilts me besides my internet lagging. So that's it. Okay, so go ahead. They say you're in the middle of a story, so go ahead, finish your story.
Yeah, so I woke up the next day realizing that I only had the 16% left. That was not one of my best moments. I put it in my Facebook post because I want to get it out of my system. I don't want to have this sit there in my head feeling sorry for myself, like on what is supposed to be one of the greatest days of your career. So I just put it out straight away on my Facebook, and I was like, yeah, okay, I feel stupid, I feel like shit, and I'm gonna work to get it better. Actually, when I made the post, I already felt a bit better, but okay. And then I did another session. I went out a bit, talked to a friend, and I did another session with Jared, my mental coach, and we went over all the things and why it shouldn't matter that much for how I'm feeling and whatever. And then things started to click in place, and I felt strong again. So then it was good. I went back to bed, took a nap, and then I woke up and I was ready. I was ready to crush.
Well, I guess, how do you get back to a normal grind after you have a big moment like that take place?
What do you mean after the score, or after that finding out that?
Yeah, for sure. After the score, how do you kind of go back and be like, okay, now I'm ready to go grind the big 55 or the hot 22 or the chaotic 17.
I literally do. I found myself in a $16 hyper yesterday already. It doesn't change that much. Like the grind still goes on. Like if I would have won like $1.5 million for myself, I might change a lot more. But now it's just like, okay, it's another nice step in my bankroll, and I should just keep doing what I'm doing right now because it seems to be working. And I can definitely use some more money. So if I want to get more money, I should keep doing what I'm doing, grinding very hard and studying very hard. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always interesting when, when you have a big score, but you don't necessarily have all the action yourself. And I think a lot of people always deal with that in a certain type of way. And some people have very big regrets about it. But on the one hand, I always think about, I don't play many tournaments, but I'm always thinking about what action should I sell when I play some of these World Series events. And if I won, would I feel like some form of regret, or would I feel some form of terribleness about it? But it seems like it's just a lot of these tournaments, most people wouldn't play if they didn't sell the amount of action that they sold. So you kind of you can't stick with you for a long time, but I'm sure it does for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, it's definitely a kind of a pitfall. It's a mental pitfall to let it be negative in that way. You played the big PLO this year, right? I think.
I played the biggest one I played was the 10K, and then after I busted, I said I am done for tournaments for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you should have won it. That's what I do. I come into these one-time things and I just win it normally. So that's kind of nice. Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind. Like, I've had people save me basically with their swaps. Like, when I had a percentage of Yorit on the final table, I really did not have a lot of money anymore for myself. So this really saved me, gave me the opportunity to start investing more for myself or whatever. So there you see what you do it for. And I don't know. If I play a WCOOP main event for 5K and I only keep 30% for myself, it's still a $1,500 tournament. It's still the biggest tournament of probably, well, for sure the week. I mean, there's a lot of a high roller action nowadays as well. Like, I misclicked on Party like 2 weeks ago. I misclicked a 5K tournament. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, then you have to just insta sell everything. Like, it's a bit chaotic in the middle of your Sunday grind. But there are some big tournaments going on. But even a 1,500 tournament that's soft with the re-entry option is like a super nice big tournament to play for yourself. Like, if you're not super rich, this can easily kill you before you make it close to somewhere of a final table. You can be gone for 3 times already. So it's still a shot if you only keep 30% for yourself, right? Unless you have like 500,000 or whatever. And even then, anything can happen. Like 100 buy-ins is not crazy.
Yeah, I hate when I accidentally registered for a $5,000 tournament for myself.
Yeah, I was not smart, but okay. Luckily, I won the first pot, so it was a bit easier to sell some action.
So how does that happen? How do you accidentally register for a $5,000 tournament? I just don't understand how it's possible.
It's the lobby on Party, like, and a lot of people told me, yeah, this happens every now and then to me too, but this time it happened to a 5K. I tried to buy in the 530, but then because you activate the lobby or whatever, it switches one notch and you just click register and you're in the 5K tournament because that was the very next one. It's like super stupid that it can even happen. And it's even more stupid that I let it happen. I mean, it's my own mistake, of course, but it's kind of justifiable by how the lobby jumps. Like, there's a silly mistake in that, but okay. Maybe subconsciously, I just wanted to gamble.
So let's tell people a little bit about your kind of backstory about yourself in poker. So if someone was going to say, give me your poker origin story, what would you kind of say?
I came into poker, I think, literally in 2001. That's now ridiculously long ago. It's like 16 years ago. Because people are kind of trading stocks and options on the stock market, like gambling, pretty much investing, like speculating. Very short-term stuff. A couple of the guys were playing on Paradise Poker back then. And I think 2000 or 2001, probably 2001. So I joined them, but we were playing like for small stakes, like $50 or whatever, just having fun, like going out of line in the chat to each other, and yeah, it was nice. I did that for a couple of years, not making any money, and in hindsight, that's very interesting for me now. Like, how could I have let that happen to not properly develop, to not learn that much that you can also already start winning because nobody knew what to do. But okay, that took a couple of years. Then I think in 2004. The first live tournaments in the Netherlands started, like 50 euro rebuy tournaments, literally, in the local casino. So that was fun. And then around that time, I think in October 2004, I played a $300 Sunday special on Paradise Poker. And I tried to qualify for $30, but it didn't work. So I was kind of pissed. I was like, fuck it. I took my credit card, just $300. Okay, I'm going to play this one anyway. And I was limping. We went to training, like free fight training, and I got a couple of kicks on my knee or whatever. So I was limping in every break. I was limping down in my parents' house where I was still living back then, and for a drink. And on the stairs, like every break, I came up like this behind my computer, and it was long. It was 12-hour grind or 10, 11-hour grind, whatever. And for the $300, I took it down for $25,000, and then I didn't speak for like the last 8 hours or whatever, and then all of a sudden you hear your own voice again because somewhere on your screen is a message that says you won $25,384, and I was like, and there I heard my own voice again. That was pretty nice, and yeah, that was the moment that we were done. Like from there on, I couldn't never stop anymore, of course. So yeah.
Are you like 50 years old? How old? 2001? You were working a job? Wait, how old are you right now?
Yes, again, man.
I thought you were around my age.
Yeah,
you can't.
I am, Joey. I am mentally. I'm just trapped in an older body, but mentally, I'm one of the young kids.
You're trapped. You look like you're trapped in a younger body too. I don't know what you're talking about.
I work for that. I work for that. That's okay. I'm 38, Joey.
Man, yeah, I was gonna say because 2001, basically, yeah. Because I mean, I started 2007. I was 21 at the time. So then, if you were kind of working in 2001, you're probably like 6 years, so 38. Yeah, man, 38, 39. That's crazy, bro.
This WCOOP, this world title goes to the old guys for sure.
Aye, man, that's wild. That's wild. So you kind of started playing. By the way, shout out to Paradise Poker. I had the Paradise Poker founder on a podcast before, and
how did it go? I don't even remember the website going offline or whatever, because I probably was mainly playing on Stars and Full Tilt and whatever. And
yeah, I think it, like something happened where I can't remember the story about what happened. I know they had a hacking incident, and then other companies started going up too. And then once one of the first UIGEAs happened, they pulled out, and then Stars and Full Tilt stayed in there. And pretty much after that, they just couldn't really.
Yes, now I remember. I mean, I played on Paradise for like 3 or 4 years, like just grinding a couple days a week and Sundays and stuff like that. But then I don't even remember it going down. It's kind of weird. Like Full Tilt, you will always remember Full Tilt going down, you know?
Yes, you remember Full Tilt going down when it took hundreds of millions of dollars from the players' money who are just getting it back now, 6 years later. So yes, I think most people will definitely remember that. But by the way, if you played on Paradise Poker, you're in this chat right now. First of all, shout out to you. Second of all, congratulations on being winning players, because here on the Poker Life podcast chat, we're all winning players out there. And yeah, so someone asked me on Twitter, they said, looks like you're going through a tough downswing now, Poppy. So I put a tweet out yesterday, Steven. It got a lot of traction. Maybe you can relate to this tweet too. I said, if you've never driven home from the casino and thought about driving off a bridge after losing all your money, I'm very envious of you. Now, people may have taken this to think that I was literally driving home from down the street from the Wynn Casino to my house and wanting to drive off the non-existent bridge that doesn't exist here. But I was channeling my 21, 22-year-old self, and I used to go to the Majestic Star Casino in Indiana. I would go there. I would lose all the money I had. I had to go back to work the next day at the bar, and I would drive home literally contemplating wanting to swerve off the Skyway every single time I did this, and this was a lot of times. So that was what my tweet was referencing, and then a lot of people out there seem like they can relate to that tweet. And now, can you relate to that tweet? Can you relate to the idea of going to the casino, losing all your money, and then maybe wanting to drive off the bridge?
I can recognize the thought, not literally. I think I never lost all my money in the casino, but I definitely lost like something that was a lot more than I wanted to lose or whatever. You feel like shit, and I think I can relate to the negative feelings the most. From my internet grind, that just you lose like momentum and you lose the skill, and you get caught up by all the young kids and whatever, and then you're still grinding for a couple of years, but you cannot get grip on your learning process. And at those times, I was definitely not happy. I never had like clear thoughts of driving off a bridge or something, because apparently it's not in my genes, it's not in my system. But I was definitely not happy. For me, it translated into just having very negative thoughts. Of like hating yourself for all the stupid mistakes you were making, like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like literally just shouting at yourself, how the fuck can you be so stupid? And I remember one point in my career where I was literally hitting myself if I made a mistake, like online. If I made a mistake again, and I can hit pretty hard. Like I literally hit myself like in the face like this, as hard as I could, just like that, just to punish myself for making the mistake. Now, I mean, some people think mental game is bullshit, but if you do that, that's pretty much the end of your learning process, right? You can see that. That is so insane if I think of it now. Like, I mean, what's the next step? Drive over a bridge? I don't know. If you keep doing that for a couple of years and you don't get out of it, like, yeah, you might hurt yourself. I don't know. Like, luckily I never did. And I always, very deep down below in all this misery of not being successful anymore, I still have a little flame burning. And luckily I tried to protect it a bit, and it lit up again, apparently. So
Huh. Well, listen, guys, if you're out there hitting yourself in the face when you make a mistake or lose a pot, please get in touch with me or get in touch with Steven. We'll be able to potentially give you some counseling and help you through this moment in time. You probably shouldn't be hitting yourself in the face no matter what's happening out there. And yeah, just get in touch with us, please. Please, we're here to help. So, this is the kind of thing when I think about yourself and, the whole tournament, I guess, thing, I can't necessarily relate to that well because the idea that you've had to, you've grinded through ups and you've grinded through downs. You've been grinding for many, many years now. And then to finally sort of break through, have this big moment where, even though I feel like you do get a lot of respect from your friends or peers or maybe people that know you from outside, the kind of respect you get for winning a tournament like this is a little bit ridiculous on one hand, but at the same time, I understand it. But it just has to be such a great feeling. And even if you don't necessarily have all that action yourself, at the same time, to be able to say, yeah, I've done this, and with the weight that carries along with it and the money you do get from that, I mean, it's got to feel just incredible. It really does.
It does. For me, it's very double. If I would have won 1.6 million, okay, I would have felt even better about it, of course. But for me, like you say, the world title also gives you, how do you say, people are happy for you, people may be envious or whatever. They would love to do something like that themselves. I can totally understand. This is one of the things I've been hunting for very actively the last at least 5-6 years, kind of when I got back on my feet for the last 5 years after the tax problems and whatever. I made a very conscious decision of doing everything I can, everything, redesign my whole life to be able to put myself in a position where I would be strong enough to be able to do this. And that doesn't mean that I deserve this victory. It doesn't mean that I am an amazing person because of this victory. It doesn't mean that anyone who wins a tournament is worth more than anyone else. It just means that you put yourself in a position where you give yourself the best chances to succeed. Whether that is a lot of money or nice titles or nice girls or love from yourself or from the people around you, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want, you can put yourself in that position, and then surprise, surprise, when you work your ass off for 5 years, success comes. And then when it comes 3 times bigger than you would even have hoped for. But in the end, not really, because you have to give away a lot in your swaps, which kind of balances it out nicely into a situation where I feel this is perfect. I got a lot of money, not too much, not so much it makes me arrogant or an asshole or lazy, but just enough to make me more hungry for the next one. Okay, now I'm on my own. I can do whatever I want. I should stay smart. I should stay focused. I should do exactly what I'm doing right now. And then maybe the next one, I can have a bigger percentage or not. If I fuck up again, fine. I will get back up on my feet again. It's fine. I'm used to it. I'm used to making mistakes. But yeah, it feels like a nice balance. This is something that feels very good, but keeps the chase alive, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, if people want to think I'm the best player in the world, go right ahead. I can tell you I'm not. I'm not even close, and I don't have to be. But I'm one of those guys that is working very hard, and in that way allows himself to do beautiful things. And that's what I can be proud of. I cannot be too proud of a world title. Of course, I'm proud of the work I put in. And then the fact that you get lucky and you win the title. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't know. But it's nice, like you say. I mean, they're not going to take it from me. It's my title now.
Listen, if I won a world title of anything, I'd be telling people all the time. I don't think I'd ever stop. I might lead my introduction for myself. Instead of being joining your 1AK Chicago, I might be world champion at the 22 rebuy, whatever. I don't even know what tournament I have to win. I actually don't know if I think the only tournament I've ever won is the $45 tournament that used to be at O'Shea's Casino. And I think you're old school. You probably know O'Shea's. You probably got a line at O'Shea's a couple of times that used to be on the strip. So that was the literally, and I won a VFW, like a local, veterans rebuy tournament there where they take 50% for charity. I've won one of those too. So, and I might tell people about that. So listen, if I won the WCOOP Main Event, I'd be telling everybody what you're talking about, man.
It's nice. I mean, I'm proud of the title. I'm proud of being the champion. Hopefully, I can inspire a lot of people to try to do the same. And some will fail, some will succeed. Like, I don't know. I put it on my Twitter. You know, I'm the official world champion of online poker now, and I'm proud of it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on one good point and one actual great point, which is that, you know, I guess in poker or anything else is that we if we work hard and we're consistent with it, the success comes at some point. And now whether that might be in 3 months or 5 years or 10 years or 3 years, or at some point in time, the consistent work ethic, the consistent just putting in that effort will lead to something positive an overwhelming amount of time. And obviously sometimes, sure, it might not. You might fuck yourself up. You might have other leaks in your game or other leaks in your mindset or your approach. But I've always known you to be a very hard worker with a lot of things. And I guess, do you feel like that? So you don't think that goes away at this point in time, right? So now you feel like you're more motivated than before to just keep putting in that consistent effort and that consistent work.
Yeah, I'm very sure of that. Like, it has to do for me with confidence and worthiness as well. Like, this is kind of not a taboo word, but it's not out there enough, I would say. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't like yourself enough, or another taboo word, if you don't love yourself enough, you're not going to put in the work that is necessary to get where you want to be, because you don't believe that you can actually get there. So to prevent the pain of trying your very, very best and not succeeding, you're actually not even going to try. So now, more than at any point in my career, I feel worthy of success. Not because I just won a title. This is a result of a process of the last couple of years. And my friends hearing this will laugh, oh, Jesus, there's Steven again. Like, we call this the self-help shit, you know? Like, some people are allergic for it, and some people love it. Like, I'm not judging. I can totally relate to having feelings of like, oh, Jesus, this... If you are convinced this is not going to make the difference for you or for other people, then it will feel like overly spiritual or whatever. But for me, it has literally picked me up from the gutter like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Especially the book from Jared Tendler, The Mental Game of Poker. This is the one. If I have to put one first step, this was the one first step. Like, in the first couple hours of reading this book, I felt these things, the simple things, like technically, he put a lot of work in describing them nicely, but technically you can read the book in like a couple hours or like a day, whatever. It's no rocket science. You have to think about it properly, but it's understandable for normal people if you read it a couple times and you think about it. That this stuff, this knowledge was, or not having this knowledge, was the single one thing that held me back for 30 years in my life. And this is what I realized in this couple hours, in this day that I read the book. And from there on, I should look at the date. From there on, like, it just started spiraling up, but it had to come from really deep. So it took me a couple of years to get back on my feet, like I said, and then a couple of years of very hard work to become better and better. I mean, I can look up some quotes later from the intake conversation, the intake report I did with Jared, and it must be somewhere in between sad and funny, like what you're going to find there. Like a guy working for 10 years, trying to be his best, smart guy. I always used to be very smart, but with a fucked up mindset, with a bad confidence, with a bad learning process, and all resulting in me not feeling it anymore. I never felt I was good enough. And this is a thing that I only started realizing for the last couple of years. Like, Jesus, like, what did I think of myself? I don't even know. I cannot even answer properly. But this is the one thing that I've been working on for the last couple of years, because I realized if I want to make it to the top, this needs to go. These limitations need to be shattered. And this takes a lot of work and a lot of sweat and a lot of pain, but you can do it. But you have to somehow believe in it. You have to believe that it's worth going for it and worth getting through that pain. And then you can do it. And then all of a sudden you're worthy of success and you can work your ass off. And of course the results will come if you put in the work. Like, if you're somewhat smart and you work harder than the rest, I mean, you kind of can imagine what's going to happen with your results, right?
Interesting stuff. I mean, I know a lot of people have credited the mental game of poker shot to Jared Tendler out there as a big help. And I remember reading it. Actually, you know what? I remember having it, getting it from my roommate in the summer of 2011 when Black Friday happened. And I would have that, and I'd have a similar thing where I feel like my mental game was pretty good, but there'd be the 5% it went awry. It was I would lose a lot of buy-ins. So he said, "Oh, you should read this book. You should read this book." I go, "Man, I ain't reading this fucking book, man. I'm not reading a book." You know what I mean? I'm just like, for whatever reason, I'm not reading a book. And then I started reading something, and I was like, "Oh wow, okay, like this makes a lot of sense. What the book's talking about."
It's confronting, right?
Yeah. It's like it's something where you read it and you're like, "Oh, did they write this for me?" Sometimes you think, and I imagine you probably read through some of these things, and you're like, "Oh wow, like I feel like this guy's in my mind because he's saying all these things and these things that I thought about myself and whatnot." And this is exactly how I feel. Now, when you think back to that moment, was there one thing that he wrote about or talked about that sort of resonates with you the most? That was like, "Oh wow, this is what I'm doing, and this is what's impacting me."
I think the most important thing, like mindset or learning process, it always comes back to this. Like, as long as you keep learning, you keep getting better. So then it's going up. You're getting better. Your skill is going up, and you cannot stay away from being more successful if you keep getting better. So I was reading for I think for a whole day already, and this was the part of the book. Like the biggest conclusion of reading this book was how perfectly it's like, how do you say, radars, like they run into each other, like confidence, mindset, learning process, fears, stuff like this. And that was very nice to see, because then you start to see, if I work on the one, then the other gets better too. And this is one thing where I realized most how fucked up my mindset was, because I was trying to stay away from mistakes, from making mistakes, like punishing myself for making mistakes, but also just not experimenting and not learning anymore, because the pain of the mistake is too much. You cannot take more pain because you feel insanely stupid already and worthless. So you stay away from making more mistakes. So what happens, you just stay in your comfort zone and you're not learning anymore. You're not developing at all anymore. And he described this as the fear of failure. And this was very technical. Like, especially us guys, we need to be strong. We need to be invulnerable. You cannot see that we feel weak sometimes, because then you can be beaten. So you have to pretend to be strong, then at least you're not beaten directly, something like that. This is also very fucked up, because if you don't see your own vulnerability, then you just see it's a weakness, and you're not learning. Like, he described this as a fear of failure. And I totally understood this, because it's mental coaching. Like, for us, that's very important, you know? It's not like therapy. I'm not crazy, I'm stronger, I'm not crazy. It's mental coaching. I'm just trying to figure things out. Then we can see, okay, I can handle that, you know? Although deep down below you feel very weak. So he described this as a fear of failure, and I understood, like intellectually, like, okay, this makes a lot of sense, this is smart. I think I might have this. And then like hours later, I realized that we have a term for this in Dutch, which is faalangst. The fear, literally, of failing. But this word sounds so weak in how we use it in society. He has faalangst, like he's weak, he's a pussy. He doesn't have the balls to go for it. That's how it sounds, or at least that's how it sounded for me. So when I realized this, I was like, oh my God, like, am I this weak pussy who has like fear of failure? Oh my God, like this, all of a sudden I realized like how much of in a good way, of a pussy I'd been for not stepping up, for not facing my fears, for not fixing my learning process. And this, because you asked me, this is, I think, the most redefining moment, or the most spiritual moment, because then I knew for sure, if I put in the work, I can fix it. And I didn't feel it yet. You have to read this book like 3 times. I did like 5 sessions with him. All of these sessions I wrote down completely the next day. I read them back like 15 times in the week after. Literally, I studied it. And then sometimes after the 10th time of reading, you realize what he's actually saying. And you realize the flaw in your thinking, and you can fix it. This is not, like you say, this is not your buddy giving you a book and you have the book, you're like, oh, okay. No, it was like I went for it because I felt this was going to make the difference. And it did.
So how do you think, because I from a lot of guys I've worked with over the past year, I've noticed that this is not an uncommon thing. And a lot of guys that are playing smaller stakes, or even sometimes like the lower end of mid stakes, they have this same sort of feeling in their mind where they're very scared to get outside their comfort zone. They're really scared of failing. They're just like, their game is sort of, and these are even guys that are small winners at some of the games they play. And I guess, when I've worked with them, I don't necessarily, I can't really relate to that feeling very well, because so when I try to work with them and some of the things I say, I feel like they just it makes sense theoretically, it makes sense logically to the people, but they just they can't necessarily process it and start to think that way themselves. So what do you think is, I guess, the trick for what was the trick for yourself to actually put that in there and be like, okay, I know I need to step outside this zone. I know that I'm going to fail. I know I need to try new things in terms of my strategies, in terms of how I work on my game, in terms of how I might even my process for just grinding or talking with different people or anything like that. So how did you finally decide, or how did you get to that point where you're like, okay, enough's enough?
Well, it was at that point that I started reading stuff like that. I was done for a couple of years already, kind of. I literally remember with my girlfriend back then that we flew out of Vegas one time after one summer, and that we literally said to each other something like, yeah, this was probably the last time. Because poker has surpassed me, or how do you say, I'm not good enough anymore. So much of the old generation, in a way, I cannot even blame myself for it. If you come from this place of not having this mindset and learning process, it is not easy. It feels like I'm kind of reborn or whatever. I had to do so much to get back into being a new personality that can actually handle everything and that can become successful. This is not the old Steven. The old Steven was not good enough to do this, literally. The thing is, it doesn't mean he was not good enough as a human being or whatever, but if you feel that way, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, then you're never gonna be. Mm-hmm. These thoughts are just gonna become true. So yeah, I mean, if you start to realize that you can do this with all the work you have to put in, then it's just a matter of grinding. Not grinding poker, but also grinding study, grinding mental game for hours a day. And you're gonna fall. You're gonna be hit again by these feelings. You're gonna be making stupid mistakes, like you say, the guys you work with. It's just about keep repeating, even the knowledge about this mental game. Keep repeating, what it is to learn stuff. I did courses on learning to get better at learning the mental game and learning the learning process. Learning the learning process that eventually are going to transform you into a positive learning machine. That's the first step. And once you are a positive learning machine with a lot of energy that feels like he has an amazing life, then you can start to put in the work that you need to put in poker-wise, technically, which is a lot of work as well, which is hours a day as well for a couple of years straight. And then you get to a certain level where you can start to be successful with poker. But before this, you have to first put in the work to even convince yourself how the learning process works and how the mental game works. And before you can be this positive dude with a big beard with a lot of energy that puts in hours a day into study. It did not come naturally to me. I was fucking bad. 5 years ago, you should see my graph. I just lost for years like this. Mm-hmm. In the end, it even went faster like that. Until you get back on your feet, until you put in the work. I don't know.
I mean, I guess
it did not feel good.
I'm going to get into some strategy with you guys here, guys, and you guys know I might not do this a lot, but I'm going to tell you a trick there. If you're ever in this point in your career, which I know some of you guys are out there right now, and you're this point where your shit's going down, and I'm going to tell you some things you can do. And I'm curious if Steven did any of this himself. So the first thing is to stop playing as many games as however many games you're playing. Stop playing that many games. Whether you're playing cash or you're playing tournaments, if you're playing 4 or 5 tables, even if you're playing more than that or playing that many, stop playing less tables immediately. Stop. That's the first thing you do, because a lot of times, a lot of people the more tables you play, in theory, the worse decisions you're probably making overall, because you're just not putting your entire thought process into things. So, And then when your confidence is down and when you're losing and when you like that all just fucks with you. And then those just like it just compounds. And that's how you get to a point where you just don't win anymore. So, and I don't know how much this can work in tournaments, but I mean, game and seat selection really matters so much more, especially once you drop tables. Well, now you just extremely tighten up your selection. You drop down stakes as low as you need to go to get yourself back to a point where you could start feeling confident in your game. And obviously, if you go down to that point and then you're still not doing well and you still can't win, you still know what you're doing, well, that's a fucking problem. And now you got to learn how to play poker. But I mean, those two things right there are just like, and they seem obvious, but I don't know many people that actually do that, where they just, okay, I'm going to drop down stakes. I'm going to play way less tables. I'm going to try to game select a little bit harder, even if it's just temporarily. Seems obvious, but a lot of people just don't do that.
Yeah, you're completely right. I mean, this is one of the things where I always fucked up immensely because, and this is like the getting lucky early in your career thing. Like I told you about the tournament I won on Paradise. This just allowed me to keep playing $100 tournaments, 200, 300, whatever. Like a year later, the money was gone. No surprise. And then I won another tournament and I had some money again. So then I went to Vegas for the first time ever in 06 or whatever, still not having a proper learning process. What is a proper learning process? Grinding yourself up in like 50 cents tournaments or $1 or $2 tournaments. I had some money, so I could play $5 tournaments, whatever, and analyze the shit out of those until you can actually beat them. I did not. I didn't have to. I was just playing relatively high stakes. And then kind of the same happened in 07. Like I got back on my feet from losing the money and I grinded a bit. I was not rich at all. And then I won the Sunday Million. Boom, like out of nowhere. After a deal like 160,000, I got even 3,000 more than my chip lead, like in chip EV, more than chip EV. I hassled them for like, nowadays you don't even get chip EV. I got 3K more than chip EV because I said, otherwise we're going to play it. Fuck it. So I got even more money and then I had all the money of the world again. So I could just keep firing off like way too high stakes. Where is the learning process? Where is learning from your mistakes? It was not there. I was just hoping to win another big one. And in the meantime, you're not learning to play proper poker. And in these years, it was exactly that all the young kids, especially a lot of German kids, but also from Eastern Europe and whatever, even a lot of the other Dutch kids, they got a lot better than me because they were having a better learning process. But nobody explained to me, nobody is going to give you a Skype group of a positive learning environment in which you can post and talk about hands a couple hours a day. This is the things that are going to make the difference in terms of being successful or not. But nobody's going to.
It's actually one thing I want to go back to something. I don't mean to interrupt, but that you just reminded me of what was on my mind, which I want to go back to what you said before, because I think a lot of people out there can probably relate to what you said. So that's why I really want to say this right now before I forget again, which is that you mentioned that, you know, kind of getting past that point of getting outside your comfort zone and not being afraid to fail when you might try something new with poker, or trying to, I guess, being able to push yourself past a certain point. And I think the people around you make a massive deal about that. And I think a lot of people start to feel that way about themselves because of the people they've had around them in poker, they've had around them in life, maybe their family, the things that they've said growing up. And when you can, if you can, and when you can surround yourself with people that are, I guess, aren't like that, but are supportive, but are encouraging, but, you know, can help you work at your strategy, whether it's mental game, whether it's poker game, whether it's your life game or whatever. Once you surround yourself with different people like that, and obviously those are tough to find, I feel like that's a big key and a big important thing to be able to allow someone to push past a certain point and to take a chance, to take a risk, to keep evolving their game. And a lot of people don't necessarily have that in poker or in their life. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of people sort of have those feelings of insecurity, of doubt, of scaredness when it comes to really anything.
Yeah, I agree again. Like, this is not something that is given to you. Sometimes you get lucky. Some people get lucky and they fall into a group that talks strategy or whatever. Like, I got lucky by being picked up by my backer, him having had a lot of strategy discussions in the last couple of years, whatever, being a good poker player, theoretically way better than I am, so he could start to explain to me. Like, there's always this thing where you get kind of lucky by falling into a situation. And what helps tremendously, if you're a nice guy, if you have a lot of friends, whatever, because then you're way better connected to other intellectual, smart, or successful brains in poker or not. It doesn't even matter. Also in normal life, of course. This allows you to learn faster, be more connected to people that are successful already. And of course, you will feed on this. You will learn from people around you. If you see that what they're doing works, you can do it too. And that's what I didn't have back then. Like, you're more on your own. You're trying to fight on your own, but you don't know how to. And that's not going to help. That doesn't make you, well, it's not a proper learning process. Like, you need other brains around you. I'm not the first one to say this. Like, your learning process is like 6 times more efficient if you have like 3 or 4 people around you that you can talk strategy stuff with, or life stuff, just friends or coaches or whatever. Like, the brain becomes a lot more efficient if I exchange my weaknesses for your strength and vice versa. That's a very healthy mechanism. That's a very strong mechanism. But for that, you need to be social, and you need to be willing to learn, and you need to have a good mindset, and you need to have friends, and you need to have I had friends, but not this very dedicated learning process friends that just help you through the difficult stuff, like every day, whatever. And that's that helps a lot.
Well, as we said before, we have all winning players in this chat. So if you are looking for someone to talk poker with, this chat is going to be a great place. It's been proven by receipts, people sending their graphs. Everyone in this chat is a winning player. Everyone that comments is going to be a winning player too. So if you're looking around for some people you want to talk to, this is a good spot. And I don't know, where else are good spots? Where do you think are good spots that you can find some people?
I don't know. I would look in the circles I have, like in the circles of friends you have, because either you get coaching from people you don't know, and then you pay for it, but then it's more a one-time thing or a 5-time thing. It doesn't matter. But if it's the people around you that are doing the exact same, then it can be a couple hours a day, and it doesn't cost you any money. Like, that's a huge difference. Like, that is more or less the learning environment that you want to create. Like, of course, you're going to put in a couple hours of work yourself, but yeah.
Pritchie says, I met my wife in your chat, Poppy. I'm gonna need to see the receipts on that one. Okay, I don't believe that. Marco Vidberg says, can you name the top 5 Dutch multi-table tournament players, please?
Well, I mean, there were a couple guys that were really good like 5 years ago, but they stopped due to tech stuff or whatever. And now, I mean, I can say we can look in the Pocket 5 rankings, but that would be cheating, because then I know I'm on top because I'm one of the ones that have an account there. But I mean, there's my buddies on Malta here, my Dutch buddies, and there's a couple of guys in the Netherlands. I don't know who's the best. Like, I know I've been putting in a lot of work, and I'm probably in that top 5. But there's other people too there, and there might be cash game players playing tournaments as well that are even better than me in the early stages or of tournaments, whatever. I'm pretty sure of that. Like, it's not even a surprise. And then some of my buddies might be better in the end phase or in the hyper stuff or in the ICM stuff. It's a whole package of skills. Like, I don't know. What is the question? Like, who would win the most money? Who is going to win the most money in the long term if we run the next 10 years 1,000 times? I don't know. Maybe it's me because I have a healthy learning process and I'm strong mentally now and I have a good momentum. But maybe all my money is gone in a year from now, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna do something else. I don't know.
Is that guy love to play you? What is Joe R.I.? Is that guy Dutch?
Yeah.
You know who that is?
He's not playing that much anymore, I think, right?
Well, I mean, I think he's won like $75 million in online cash games, so I don't know if he still needs to play much anymore. He kind of turned into a bum hunter towards the end of his online pop in Omaha play. So I know shots at him. Shout out to him. He's a beast. But I think he was Dutch, right?
Yes. Okay. I know who he is. Like, I know a lot of the guys, but I don't know their bankrolls or how much they won or how good they are now or whatever. I don't know. I'm not so much of a fanboy. I wish I could follow things more because I do think it's nice, but I'm just I'm too busy. I'm just too busy playing poker, going to the gym and studying poker and trying to win a world title. Oh, wait. Yeah, I mean,
I'm definitely not a fan of love to. What was my nickname? I used to have a nickname for this guy. Love to play you. What the fuck was it? Love to cheat. There's something about love to cheat. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, ORI Yori Vanderspan. I think that is who it is. So I know there are a couple other guys. Lex Veldhuis. Obviously, Lex has been playing a ton. I think Lex is probably one of a very successful Dutch poker player in general, tournaments and cash games over the years.
Yeah, I remember I started playing poker like in these years I just described, in the first years of Dutch live games, like these €100 tournaments or whatever, somewhere in Amsterdam, and that's where I first saw Lex, like kind of a shy guy sitting in his chair trying to play his hand, like whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it was fun. And later we met in the bigger circuit a bit, and yeah. He's a fun guy. We played some pretty big cash games, some out-of-line cash games, like for a long time and stuff like that. So.
Jamie E says, could you ask him what he thinks about Ruben RTV?
Yeah, Ruben is one of the guys I referred to that moved out of poker because he got better options, who was like extremely good, like super smart, talented kid who would easily have made it to the world top if he would have kept trying, but he simply did not because he saw better options in life. So yeah. That's something you can only respect. I cannot, or I should rephrase, I could not have thought of doing that because I did not see a lot of better options for myself because I didn't find myself insanely smart or very likely to be very successful. And now I know that's all because of the bad mindset and learning process, whatever. Of course I can be successful in pretty much everything that I will do because I put in more energy than other people and I'm smarter than a lot of people. So yeah, you will succeed because you go for it. And of course, there's always people working harder and that are smarter, but that's not very many. So yeah, I can do a lot of things. I don't even want to think about it now. Like, this is way too much fun, flying around the world, just being a world champion, Playboy, having fun. Like, I don't know. I don't want to stop. I don't even want to think about it.
Wait, what did you do? Hold on, Poppy. What did you just call yourself? A world champion Playboy? Playboy? You Playboy? Is that what we're gonna say? We call you a Playboy? Is this official?
No, I'm the world champion of poker, and I live the life of a Playboy, just flying around having fun.
How out of line are you getting, Poppy? How out of line you been? I know the Maltese girls. I mean, I know there's a lot of imports that go into town there. You know, there's a lot. You know, not many native Maltese women. You're not necessarily maybe. Hanging out with, let's put it like that. So what's the woman's situation like now that you're an official world champion living on an island like Malta?
I don't know, Poppy. It's only been a week. I've been grinding a bit. I've been partying a bit. We'll see. No, I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm here to play poker, you know? I'm on Malta to play poker. I'm not going out 5 times.
Listen, hey, you're the world champion Playboy, Poppy. I didn't say I was the world champion Playboy. You did. So I'm trying to ask what the world champion Playboy has been up to since he's been the world champion Playboy, Poppy.
Since this week, there's a free spot in the mansion, I heard. So yeah.
There's a free spot where?
In a mansion from Hugh Hefner. So yeah. Maybe we should try to do like an election. Who's going to be the next Hugh Hefner?
Dear God, can it be somebody we know, please? I mean, come on. So did you know I've actually been in the Playboy Mansion before?
I have not been there. You've been there?
I've been there. I went there one time. And I don't think I actually ever talked about this on any of my poker podcasts because it was a daily fantasy. One of my DFS friends, Asani Fisher, brought me to the Playboy Mansion for a daily fantasy sports party. Let me tell you what they do. And I'm going to tell you this, and I already know you're going to be sad because you didn't get to go. What they would do is they would bus in women, Poppy. There'd be a bus arrives every hour with, like, they use this app called Circus.
Bus in women.
Seriously, I'm not kidding you, dude. They would bus in women to there. And these women, these are very attractive women. So I remember talking with some. We were playing beer pong with one. I said, oh, what do you do? She's like, oh, I'm an adult entertainer. I said, oh, what kind of stuff? Like, what, a stripper? What do you do? She's like, oh, I'm in porn. I go, oh, what kind of porn do you into? She's like, name something. I said, I don't know, gangbang. She's like, yep. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I ask her name, you know, I'm shopping around, whatever. And then I start getting more and more drunk, out of line. You know, eventually I walk over, I see this nice, tall, 6-foot Cuban girl who, if you guys watch any of my video blogs from last summer, you definitely saw her in there because then we started hanging out all the time. And we had a moment in the grotto there, the infamous grotto. I mean, it was just such a legendary place being there. There's these like back rooms you go to. And I don't know what happened in the back rooms. I don't know what happened in the grotto exactly. All I know is that it was very.
You're just trying to make me jealous now.
It was very, very epic, and I encourage somebody out there to be a Hugh Hefner, please, and please somehow let me and Steven know who you are, because yes, we just need to know who you are, please.
Sounds pretty out of line to be there, yeah. I know I would love it.
Well, it was out of line, no doubt about it, man. Women in the pool, they got no shirt on, they're just changing right there. I don't know what's going on, but is there any place like that in Malta that maybe you? Is there a place like that in Malta you can maybe go hang out at right now?
Well, there was a lot of water on my balcony yesterday, but that was because of the rain. That's not a hot tub. That's not a pool, you know. Like, no. I don't know. I'm not in that scene, you know. I'm a serious grinder, Joey. Come on, like.
Hey, I'm a serious grinder too, puppy. What are you talking? You call me I'm not a grinder? I'm a grinder. I grind all the time. I just happen to grind the out-of-line lifestyle for a little bit too long here. So I guess for you now, what's the plan? So you get back on that grind. You get back to what, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day? Where do you sort of, where does things go? Did I play chess? Of course I play chess. Where do you go from right now?
I'm definitely playing a lot of poker as well. Like that's my passion. I don't only do it for the money. This is my thing. Like I want to do this and I want to become very successful. The fact that I incidentally bink a world title doesn't make me super successful. Like it's very nice. It's one of the things that I would have loved to get, and now I got it. But it doesn't mean I'm going to stop grinding. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop learning. I'm going to keep going and doing exactly what I'm doing. So yeah, we're gonna fly to Punta Cana in November for the party poker tournament.
Okay.
It's going to be a big one. I want a package for that, whatever. It's nice. And then back to the Aussie Million in January. I've been there 10 years ago. I think literally 10 years ago, the year that Gus Hansen won.
Jesus.
Or you finished second? Was that 10 years ago or 9?
The only
you weren't even born then, right?
The only reason I know this is because there's a YouTube clip where it says Gus Hansen versus someone, and it's a very out of line term. And I remember that was back in like I think it's more than 10 years ago actually.
No. I know when I started playing bigger tournaments. So let me see. It must have been January 06. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's 11 years. Wow, that's sick. 06 or 07. Anyway, that was fun, but because poker was so new, it was all super spectacular. Like, oh, poker, a lot of money, blah, blah. So I flew there 24 hours from the Netherlands. The only thing I did every day was walk from the casino to my hotel and back. And that was not very far. So basically all I did was play poker. And I walked around the city like once or whatever. Just, it's so fucking ignorant. Like, if I think of it now, like, wow, okay. I missed out a lot of things because of just wanting to play poker too much. So I didn't see anything of the country or whatever. So now we're going back, and hopefully we can stay there for a bit of a holiday or whatever. So, and hopefully win something during the Aussie Million. That would be nice.
I mean, it kind of depends. Like, if you really enjoy playing poker and you don't necessarily enjoy going to the tree or the park, that you don't care about the park, well, then I think it shouldn't feel that bad to go there and be like, well, I only play poker. But if one of your loves is to go see sights and to go to museums and stuff like that, and then you don't go because you're playing too much poker, I mean, I just don't think that's a bad thing to be that singular focused on playing poker, even when you do go someplace like that. Because, I mean, I think that's how I always approach situations. And while I may, sure, like, it would have been cool to go see, like, the fucking zoo or something like that when I went to a spot, at the same time, my goals all centered around poker and were very singular focused on poker. So even when I went someplace, I just played poker. And, on one hand, that kind of might sound sad to someone else. And I think it might be sad to yourself because you sort of allow yourself to feel that way because you think the norm is that you have to go see these things while you're there. But at the same time, if you have a bigger picture goal in mind that's over here and, you choose to focus on that while even no matter where you're at, I don't necessarily think that's the worst thing you could do.
No, it's not bad. Like, for back then, it was probably all right. Like, I won a qualifier in a 30-people free roll, like totally out of the blue. So I totally free rolled, and it was the first big tournament I've ever played. So of course it's going to get a lot of focus. It's very spectacular.
Right.
But you're in fucking Australia. There's kangaroos there. That's fucking cool. You should.
I didn't see one kangaroo, bro. I'm telling you, I went to the zoo. I did not see it. Well, I think I ate a kangaroo. Is that true?
Maybe they're out there in the wild, you know, but you have to go check. I mean, I love nature. I love being in the jungle, stuff like that. I always go hiking when I'm in Vegas or there. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel alive. Like when you get back to the grind afterwards, that's fine. And you know you're part of this whole system, you know. When you just walk back and forth from a casino to a card room, that's fine for 3 days. I mean, I lock myself up sometimes for a couple of days here, but I always try to make an effort to go out to the gym and to meet some people and to talk a bit and whatever. You know, you want to have a life too. And when you're in Australia with fucking kangaroos, then you should at least try to see some kangaroos, you know, like there. I did not, but I will try this time. I will not leave Australia before I've seen a kangaroo this time.
I'm telling you, I don't think I saw a kangaroo there. I swear to God. I know now. I know I ate one. I thought about this more. I definitely ate a kangaroo, but I don't think I went to a zoo there. I don't think I saw one. Now I feel disappointed. I didn't see a kangaroo either. Because that's a good point. I do want to see a kangaroo.
Yeah, and you screwed up. You didn't see a kangaroo. Next time you're in Australia, you're gonna see a kangaroo.
I saw a lot of things in Australia, Poppy. I don't know if I want to go back to that country. That country scares me so bad. You can walk amongst them. Kangaroo steak. That's exactly what I ate, Glenn. I had kangaroo steak when I was living in Sydney at a very nice place. And I'm down, Tim. I didn't even go say it, okay? Marco says, I see you play all the hypers, ETC fast structures. Do you think they're beatable over a bigger clip than 5% ROI?
Well, there you go. What's ETC structures? Hypers and what?
Hypers, etc. fast structures.
Yeah, I love it.
Those are beatable over a bigger clip than 5% ROI.
Yeah, probably a bit more, which is fine because they don't last very long either. So you don't have to make like 50% or whatever. I don't know, probably a bit more than the 5%. And I love playing them. Like what I did, again, learning process, blah, blah, blah. One of the things that I got grip on for the first things in my learning process, it's very hard to think about river ranges, triple off ranges, like how do you check raise bluff rivers with one? I didn't have a fucking clue. I was simply not there yet. I was not smart enough. But when you've decided you're worth success and you want to put in a lot of work, what can you do? Put in like the hard work, the simple work. So you open your calculator every day before you go to bed. Like my Hold'em manager is the basis of my learning process. Basically what I do when I'm playing, I'm marking hands in so many different categories that I create a lesson for myself. This can be bluffs, this can be calculation stuff. This has a lot of names in it from people that I know are better at certain things than I am. So basically coaches. Then mistakes is a very important one. And then something I call best practice, which is something that seemed to have worked out that I should do more often, probably. Or at least evaluate if I just got lucky and it worked, or I should do it more often. So this is, my Hold'em manager looks like this, like after every session, like probably 100 hands I marked over 10 categories or whatever. Or in some days it's maybe 60 hands or whatever. In the beginning, like 5 years ago, when I got back on my feet and my learning process started to look a bit more healthy, I had like 20 or 30 hands or 30 or 40 hands in this calculation category every day. And it's not really fun. You're fucking tired after 10 hours of poker and you want to go to bed, or you want to cry yourself to sleep because you lost 5K again, or 2K if you don't have a lot of money. You want to go to the television and switch your brain off. You want to get 2 glasses of wine. You want to play a computer game, whatever, because you don't want to feel the pain anymore. But that's not how you're going to get better. So what you can do is switch on your calculator and do like 40 minutes of calculations. And it's not going to make you super successful if you do it once or twice. But if you do it 3 years straight for every day, I did not allow myself to go to bed without doing my calculation category, the least. Like, and hopefully some other categories, like some other coaching or just asking around, like whatever. But the least you can do for yourself is do the calculation. So it's been a minimum of like 20 minutes, and then you can go to bed. And then at least, you know, you're a better poker player. So this is especially the skill that you need for hypers and turbos and stuff like that. Just the raw equity, the shoving, the reshoving, the calling off. For now, I feel like I have a decent feel for that. Like, I won the Supersonic like last month, which was kind of a crown on this work. This is what I did that for. Not going to bed, but getting in that pain of learning. And then you win the Supersonic after like 6 years. Like, what? It's like it's crazy. But yeah, because of that, I do think I have a decent edge now. If that's 10% or 15 or 5, I don't know. Like, it's hard to say.
The Supersonic is a hyper tournament, I'm gonna guess, right?
It's the biggest hyper of the week. There's only one 200 hyper of the week, and that's called the Supersonic, the Sunday Supersonic. And there's only one a week, so you don't have a lot of room to show your skills. But yeah, normally you play it, and then half an hour later it's gone because it's a hyper. And then one day you just run very good and you win 20K or whatever. So yeah, I tweeted it out. Like I think I was down like 15,000 in only this tournament alone over the last, I said 12 years, but that was false because it only started running 6 or 7 years ago. I was down like 15K and now I'm up 5 or 10K in this specific tournament. I mean, that's poker. Welcome to poker. And hopefully I'll win it next week once more, and then I'm up a lot.
I hope so, man. Marty says for Tonka, it's a weekly donation. Bang bang. I guess that's, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not sure if I you ever heard of a game? What's this game called? A game. Fuck, man. You have 4 cards instead of 2. I think some people call it the great game of Pot Limit. You ever heard of this game? You ever play this? You ever play this great game? You ever play this? You ever try this out, Steven?
Little bit, but not so much. For the same reason again, because I didn't feel very strong anyway. At all the points that I kind of could have chosen to play Omaha, I always got the idea that, yeah, but I cannot even play Hold'em, and Hold'em is a lot simpler. So if my learning process is that fucked, how can I even try to learn a game with 4 cards? Like, you know, I don't know.
Oof. Great game though. It's a very fun game. Great team.
I play it for fun, but I don't try to risk my life on it, you know? Like, I played some tournaments every now and then if I need to for certain rankings or whatever. I played some live cash games even 10 years ago in Paris, I think. Must have been something like that, 10, 11 years ago, in when poker was still romantic, you know? Like, we took the train to Paris from Amsterdam. We took the train to Paris. And in the meantime, before we arrived in Paris, we already had one, like, you try to win your buy-in back for the toons or whatever. So one day I already won like 500 euros in card games, like Chinese poker back then or whatever. And then you arrive in Paris, you walk onto the Champs-Élysées, and there's this beautiful buildings and the clouds, and you go in there, and it's all super exciting. And there I won like one tournament one day for like a 200 euro tournament for like 10,000 euro. That's one of the first entries on my Handemob, so you can see when it was. But it was so cool. And then you get paid out in 20s because it's all drug money over there, and it's all it's all illegal, of course. But in those clubs, I also played a bit of PLO, and it was nice. I didn't understand most of it, but I just played relatively tight and just, I don't know, it was fun. But yeah, I don't try to make a living out of PLO. No. Maybe one day, Joey.
Maybe one day. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll switch to tournaments. You switch to Pot Limit Omaha, the great game.
Tournaments are good. Tournaments are good now. I worked so long to become good at them. I don't know. The action is quite soft now. Like, there is still quite a lot of money in the tournaments. We know this. And there's a lot of people who are becoming good at it. And I might be one of them. I might be one of a bigger group. And there is one group like ahead of me that's even better. And I should work very hard to try to get there. But I mean, I don't have to be the best in the world. I'll say it again. Like, if I am close enough, I can still have a very nice salary. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Like,
I'm gonna tell you something right here, Steven. I haven't said this in any podcast, and I do not want anyone to hold me to this, okay? Because I might be a little bit drunk on water and sleep, and so a little bit of this wine that I drank already. I'm a lightweight, in the morning time, 10 a.m. when I wake up. But man, I'm scared to say this, okay? But I might start playing some more tournaments, okay? I never thought I'd say this, but I think I'm going to set a goal. I want to try to win a big tournament over the next few years. And like, I've literally played less than 10 to 15 live tournaments my entire life. I've probably played less than that. And this is like 12 years. This is a long time, okay? 11, 12 years. I played maybe less than that of online tournaments.
Yeah, I think you're drunk.
I think I'm gonna try to win a tournament. I'm telling you, man. I don't know. I might see the light. I think I'm seeing the light. I'm serious. I think I want to try out some tournaments. Nolan and Hold'em too, because Pot Limit Omaha tournaments, those aren't very fun. Those are fucking awful. But
yeah,
tournaments.
I don't know. I can totally see why you love PLO, because it's action, and I don't know, as a cash game for sure. And this is the exact reason that I like tournaments. Like, it's so dynamic. This is the one thing that I love most. Some phases you have to be more careful. You have to conserve your stack. You have a lot of chips. Then somebody sits down, or any small thing can happen, and it completely changes the dynamic. And you can go completely crazy. You can dominate the whole tournament and win like a sickening amount of EV just because you are torturing the other people. That's the dream, Joey. Torturing the other players.
I gotta be honest, I could see you torturing people in different aspects of life, not necessarily just poker too. So it's quite interesting that you'd bring that up.
I don't know. What can I say? I'm not denying. I mean, if you do bad things to me, I will torture you, Joey. Or if you try to seduce me with good things, I might be, I don't know.
Papi, laying it on, Papi. I get a little wine in me all of a sudden in the morning time. You're throwing it thick on me, man. I see what the women must get from you when you start talking to women. How do you feel like women intersect with your desire to want to grind poker all the time?
I think it's a very attractive trait to have a passion. Like, not necessarily poker, but it's very attractive to have one thing that you're very good at, that you're really going for. This is, on average, going to make you successful, to say it that way, if you put in a lot of effort. So I'm pretty confident that's a good thing. And if it's optimal to be poker or not, doesn't really matter. You have to do, you cannot lie about this. You cannot lie about what's your passion, you know. That's not attractive at all, like lying about stuff or playing a game. Like, you just want to be yourself and have a strong passion about stuff. I have a very strong passion about poker and about becoming the happiest, strongest person I can be in this life. And I'm on my way, you know. I'm doing very well compared to 5 years ago. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very happy with that, and I will keep going. And I think that alone is very attractive. And okay, that I happen to be successful with poker now. Who knows where I am next year.
World champion successful.
World champion successful. No, that's very nice. So yeah.
I remember like whenever like Jonah talks about Jonah, shout out to Wizards and Jonah. I think they talk about like whenever they're with Fedor, they just tell people he's a world champion, and then that's it. And then the women love him. That's so. I think that really works. I think what you should do is you should have your friends be like, yeah, my buddy's a world champ. Like, that always works, man. We started telling people like, oh, I'm like, my friend Jonah, he's the best fucking video editor in the entire world. And like, now we just tell people our friends are like the best in the world at whatever they do. No matter what they do. This is what you do to your friends, guys. When you go out, don't be like, yeah, my friend Steve's a fucking scumbag, okay? Be like, nah, my friend Steve is the best known home player in the entire world. And if he's not, who gives a fuck, man? But I don't know, it kind of reminded me of that. The world champ is like with Fedor, they just like, he's kind of the world champ. And then they're like, okay.
For sure. I mean, I've grinded a bit, you know. I've been reading a lot. I've been studying a lot on how to become a stronger, more confident, more attractive guy. Like, not necessarily to introduce yourself as a world champ to be found more attractive. No, to love yourself more, to be more confident, you know. And there's a lot you can do, and you can read a lot of books. I'm sure you read most of them, and all the instruction stuff and all the videos online, all the pickup stuff. But most of it is going to try to teach you tricks and pickup lines and whatever. And that's, in the end, it's not very attractive. Like, what's attractive if you're strong and confident, if you love yourself, and if you have strong passions, that's attraction. That's what will be successful evolutionary. And maybe you can try to cheat that system by learning tricks and by learning lines or whatever. But that's not really gonna get you the end result that you want. That you can just be yourself. Like, if you're yourself and you're not attractive, it happens. You can either change yourself or accept your fate. Like, I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to everybody. I did not accept myself. I did not accept myself for not being attractive because I knew it was not the real me. That's honestly, if you're yourself and you're not attractive, it probably means you're not in a good spot in life and you're not super positive. You don't like yourself enough. You don't learn enough. You don't develop enough. Like, if you're positive and strong and you have a lot going for yourself in life, you will be attractive, at least to a certain percentage of people or girls or whatever you're after. And that attraction will come if you find yourself more, if you find your true passions, and if you find that you can be yourself and be attractive. And that's a very, very nice mechanism. That's a very strong mechanism.
Let's see here. Alan Edwards in the chat says, I can't stand that Fedor I'm not a gambler claim, Joey. Why did you have to retweet it? It's so egotistical. Poker is gambling, no way around. For those who don't know, I think Fedor tweeted out he did like a speech in someplace in San Francisco or something like that, or maybe Germany. I can't remember where it was. And on the screen, he says, I'm not a gambler. And I got to tell you what, Fedor, nope, you're a gambler, buddy. No matter how hot you might run, no matter how many times you may have somehow got first and second in the same tournament, it's called gambling. It's poker. Poker's gambling. Poker's not gambling. So I don't know.
Depends on your definition of gambling, right? It's a very easy question, and it can be answered very easily depending on your definition of gambling. Like, if your definition of gambling is playing a game with an element of chance, then we're all filthy gamblers. Then we're all degenerates. But if your definition of gambling is, which it is a bit more for me as well, going to the casino and putting in bets that are minus EV, then we are trying not to be a gambler. And Federer, since he was very successful, he seemed to have been, not a gambler, but he seemed to have made successful plus EV decisions. So, like, gambling has a very negative stigma, like a negative image. So I can imagine people thinking that we are gamblers, but I don't know. I don't see myself as a gambler. I see myself as a very hardworking, equity analyzing grinder, like not necessarily gambling. When I'm gambling, maybe I'm gambling a small percentage of the time. When I play higher buy-ins, or when I take higher EV lines where I think like, oh, this is probably not the best option, the best thing I should do now, but I'm just going to do it because of other stuff in my head going on. That's probably a bit of a gambling aspect of it. But in general, I don't see myself as a grinder. So, yeah. As a
gambling, under the definition of the dictionary, shout out to dictionary.com. Dictionary.com is not a sponsor of the podcast, but I do want to shout out, of course, Island Snack Foods. They're a big sponsor of the podcast. Sent me over this nice pack of Jolly Ranchers. Big shout out to Island Snacks, of course, for showing support. And also our other sponsor today is Starbucks Double Espresso Energy Drinks. Starbucks.
It's not even
Starbucks. Starbucks.com. What'd you say?
That's not even beer. I would like a beer now.
Yeah, I would like. Dude, I have water, wine, and motherfucking energy drink right here. But gambling, it says gambling definition: the activity or practice of playing at a game of chance for money or other stakes. The act or practice of risking the loss of something important by taking a chance or acting recklessly. Now that one, of course, we could certainly say that one doesn't necessarily fall into it.
Does it say anything about EV?
To stake or risk money or anything of value on the outcome of something involving chance.
Okay, so we're all filthy gamblers.
Yes.
There you go. Oh, it's fine. And it is what it is. Like, we depend on the outcome of certain gambling decisions. It's all fine. Now we're all gamblers. But we're professional gamblers that are trying not to be very stupid. So we're trying to make money, and we seem to be successful in that. So yeah, is it bad to be a gambler if you do it that way?
I think it's great to be a gambler. I don't know personally. I mean, I enjoy the decision I've made, and yeah, I think we all gamble in some type of way, and whatever it is that we do. So do you have any shout outs you want to give, Steven? You got some people you want to say what's up to? I know my boy Kenny Helliert's out there. I know Kenny, a friend of yours as well too. Shout out to Kenny.
Shout out to Kenny. Shout out to my boys in Malta here. They were the basis of my learning process, basically. Like, I did the most hands with them. Shout out to my buddies in the Netherlands who coached me over the last couple of years. Shout out to my parents and brothers. My brothers are coming to Malta next week. We're going to get out of line probably, nice. Which is really nice. My parents always supported me in my weird decisions of my weird career path. So that's very nice to know. Shout out to all my other friends who always liked what I was doing, and sometimes I have success, and we go to celebrate whatever. Hopefully one day I win a really big one. Sounds weird because I just won a big one, but okay. So I can take them to Hawaii or whatever. That would be amazing. Shout out to all the girls I've met over the last couple of years that helped my learning process and worthiness and everything. It was a lot of fun. I met an amazing amount of very interesting people, not only girls, also poker buddies, friends, whatever. The world is filled with interesting people, and I definitely enjoy meeting a lot of them and trying to figure out what makes someone tick, you know, like everybody has passions and good stories, and those are very interesting for me now. Like, shout out to all the other input I got from Jared Tendler and all the amazing other authors of the insane amount of books and courses I read and did and whatever who brought me here. Like, it was quite amazing.
Oh, I just had a thought. I had a thought on my mind. God, I'm tilted now. Oh my gosh, man, I'm so tilted. I had a perfect thought on my mind. You mentioned the whole women thing, and I was gonna say, do you have any poker women crushes? You maybe want to give them a shout out right now. Maybe you got someone out there you want to let them know.
I love a lot of people, Joey. I can definitely, like you would love your brother and your sister, or both your father and your mother. I feel
I'm talking about a female poker player, Poppy, that maybe you want to say what's up to. Maybe you want to let them know, hey, I got a secret crush on you or something like that. This is your chance to shine. It might get back to him, Poppy. Don't be scared. Put yourself outside of that zone you talked about earlier today.
No, like I said, I love a lot of them. Like if they're pretty, and you don't even have to say names. If they're pretty and smart and talented and they have a good mindset, I will love them. For sure. I don't experience a lot of crushes, but when I will let you know. Like,
okay.
I will go after him.
Okay. I don't believe that answer, but that's okay. Maybe I might reveal one of mine. I'm not sure, even though a lot of whatever, man. Let me get some shout outs. Who we got in the chat here? Alan Edwards. What's up, Alan? Puppy. My buddy Balkis says this guy's awesome. I agree with you. Steven is the man. Let's see who else we got. David Peer out there in the chat. What's up, David? My buddy Jacob Olson, always in the chat, always sending me stuff on Snapchat. What's up, Jacob, man? Keep up the hard work, kid. Neil Cassidy's out there too. Who else we got? Mark Thelens. What's up, Mark Thelens? our model. How the fuck you name model on here? Why'd you name model for? Massalou, Kyle Fly 1. Who else we got? Nicholas Palmer out there. What's up, puppy? What's happening, brother? What's happening? V-Motion, Vincent, Sparazza, Coromosa Caramoracita, papi. What's happening, man? My buddy Stu Gotch. What up, Stu? Bruno Malvazali, Caramosa, Briganto, Jeramosa, Gita, papi. That's it. Okay. The Bizzle. What up, Bizzle? What's happening, kid? What's up, man? Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you for contributing to the chat. Give me some questions, guys. If you guys have some questions out there for young Steven, let me know what they are. Martin Van Der Hurst. What's up, Martin? Poppy. What's happening, man? Team Heart Poker. Jacob Wilson says, I met, how do you say your poker name? How do you say Svzff?
SVZFF. It's just my initials, nothing more.
He says, I met SVZFF at Rio Sit and Go. It's pretty nice. Gave me advice, rather.
I was spewing mental coaching again, probably. I do that, Joey.
You spew mental coaching, you just said?
My head overflows with mental coaching. Like, because it's been so much fun for me. I just assume that other people, I can help other people with it or whatever. And some don't like it, some like it. It's fine. So good. No, to come back at your question, I was like, yeah, poker crush. I mean, it's a very interesting mechanism. I don't seem to fall in love easily. Probably because of the things I described earlier. Like the worthiness stuff, but I do experience love for a lot of people now. I love my friend Chrissy. She's amazing. She was on the final table yesterday. Of course, I want her to win. Is that a poker crush? I don't know. Could I marry her? I don't know, man. Come on, Natalia.
We all love Chrissy. Okay, that's not. We all love Chrissy B. Okay, come on, man.
Of course, and you should. Her friend Natalia, she stayed with us in the house in Vegas. There's more and more. Vivian, I know you have a crush on Vivian. I mean, everybody loves Vivian, right?
Define crush, first of all. Let's start there.
Okay, maybe that's the question. I don't know. That's the difficult question. That's why I make it.
I think it might be switched around technically. Vivian, shout out to my girl Vivian. We shout out to Vivian, man. Shout out to my girl.
I'm super happy to see the amount of young, pretty women coming into poker. That's amazing. We need more of that. Why isn't there more? I know they can be super smart, girls, compared to guys, especially in the early stages of your career or whatever. I know I've been not very smart. I've not been an early, how do you say? We say, I have not blossomed early. I'm blossoming later. You know, that's how we say it. But I know girls are smarter in the early days of their career, so they can blossom earlier. Like, we need more of that. Like, whether it's sponsored or not, or whether because they're really good. Like, but we should definitely allow an environment in which they can be successful too. And I'm always, like, it's only a small number. How do you feel like if you're a young pretty girl and you get to a table and there's like 9 of these cowboys like, yeah, I don't know. It's probably not
all
really.
in. All in, baby. All in. No? Is that not? No? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not a pretty woman. And when I go to the table, the guys aren't looking at me like they want to take me home. So I don't know.
That's
Bruno said in the chat, Bruno said, Puppy, I met Vivian 2 days ago on the street. We talked about you.
You're famous now, Puppy.
I'm in. Shout out to my boy Bruno. I think Bruno said he knows Vivian's dad. So I think that's they play she plays poker with her dad. So listen, I got a poker crush. I'm gonna tell you who it is, Steven, okay? I mean, one that I haven't met before. It's this girl on Instagram named Scarlet D_D. She's like Russian or Ukrainian or something like that. The ones that I haven't met. I'll put it the ones that I haven't met. It's not my number one poker crush. My number one poker crush is my girl Monica. Shout out to Monica. She's my number one poker crush right now. Or it's never mind. It's Monica. Monica, listen, I could talk about this for a long time. I've been out of line as a motherfucker, man. Let me take a couple more questions in the chat. What headphones does he use? Stu God says.
What's that?
What headphones does he use?
This is the ones that I bought. It's actually high quality, but super broken. This is the ones I bought like 6 or 7 years ago for Native Poker, a Dutch instruction video website. But then a couple of years ago, the microphone or the headset broke down. So I taped it back together because the microphone is really good. So I want to keep using it. I bought a new one, but it has a different plug and I cannot use it, whatever. So I keep using the old stuff. It's fine. But it's nothing fancy. I don't have a lot of fancy stuff in my life. I don't know. I'm Dutch. I have the image of myself that I'm really, how do you say? No, I don't like expensive stuff. I don't overly like expensive stuff or whatever, unless I can see that it's really good, that it's worth the quality or whatever. I don't have to have like certain brand stuff because of the name. Like.
So your headphones are taped together right now.
Here, they're broken. They're literally broken.
That is custom as shit right there. Were you wearing those during the WCOOP main event and final table?
Boom. Whenever I'm on Skype, I'm wearing these.
Wow. I would never take those off if I was wearing them during the WCOOP main event final table. I see why you keep them.
They hold true for a lot of clothes or stuff, you know. I want $1.6 million, so I'm gonna wear this tank top, and I'm never gonna take it off again, you know. I don't know if that's gonna work.
I got nothing wrong with that. If I won $1.6 million in a tank top, I'm never taking that tank top off again either. So believe me, I'm gonna wear it for the foreseeable future. So QQIES says, has Steven heard of the Dutch YouTube channel called Drugs Lab?
Nope. Is it good? Should we go after?
Drugs Lab is an educational YouTube channel about drugs. So I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know if they're trying to make an allegation about you or not. V-Motion says, does Steven gonna play the poker? Does Steven gonna play the Master Classic of Poker in Amsterdam?
I'm gonna be there for the first couple of days, but I cannot play the main event because we have the tournament in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic.
Punta Cana, papi.
Punta Cana. And they let it have overlap with the main event in Amsterdam, so I cannot play that one. Too bad, because I love the tournament. It's my hometown casino, kind of. I grinded there for a couple of years, playing 5-5 no limit hold'em.
Nice.
That was my tried to build my bankroll. That must have been like in 06 somewhere. I drove to Amsterdam 2, 3, 4 nights a week. While I should have been online, Well, I should have been online, grinding and studying poker. I drove to the casino in Amsterdam 4 days a week, grinded some poker. It were very good games back then. It kind of played more like 5-10 is playing now. Like the open race was like 25, 30, whatever. So I don't know. It feels good to be there. I never actually won a tournament in Amsterdam. I got close a couple times, but I never finished it. So I want to win the main event there one day. But it's not going to be this year because I can't play, unfortunately.
Punta Cana. I actually might be down in Punta Cana for that too. Maybe.
Fun.
I might be going down there, so we'll kind of see what happens. Steve, you got 2 podcast guests you might recommend that a young gentleman like myself may have on in the future?
That I recommend?
Yeah, 2 podcast guests, 2 people you might like to see on the podcast that I might be able to get on the podcast.
I think I'm not the guy to ask. Like I said, I wish I would be more of a follower. Like, so how do you say? I subscribe to your channel. So whenever you're doing and Duck's channel. So whenever you guys are doing podcasts, I get the notification now in the new windows, whatever. So if I'm not too busy and it looks interesting, I click it. So even during my grind, sometimes I see some content, but not too much. I don't follow it. I see Twitter sometimes, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on, puppy. I don't know. Who is the most successful? Who is not? Like you just did an interview with Stefan. I saw that next to the grind. It was very interesting. I can relate with Stefan quite a bit, coming from the countryside, not wanting to be too flashy or whatever. I like that a lot. Like his sarcasm is very, very sharp.
Oh yeah, I love his sarcasm. I was like, I wonder if your sarcasm will translate over to when we do the podcast together, because 1, when we do the podcast, some people act differently, and 2, it's in spoken English rather than typed English. And I know a lot of people are sarcastic on typed English, but don't necessarily translate over to spoken English. But his does really well, so I was very happy about that because I'm a sarcastic motherfucker. Okay, so I enjoyed that aspect of things.
He's firing off all the time. Like every minute, he's like, like
yeah, it was great. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. So yeah, that was that was very fun. Someone in the chat said I should get Ravenswood on the podcast. Oh, Ravenswood. Is he still living in Malta, or is he back home?
He's here. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where he is most of the time or whatever, but I see him here as well. So yeah.
If I go to Malta again, guys, listen, I'm gonna make it a mission. I'm gonna get Ravenswood on the fucking pod, okay? We might be really drunk, and you might not necessarily think it was a smart idea the next day, but I'll talk to him, and we'll try to get him on. So
there's a lot of successful young kids around. You should get those on the pod, but I don't know all of them. Like the high stakes cash gamers, like the best of the world right now. Like I don't know. I can call some names. You had Stefan shout out some names, I think. I don't know. It's very interesting for me from a mental aspect, like from the learning process. How did they get there? You know, like how can you have the confidence to be the best of the world and crush everybody else? How can you sit down with like 50K in front of you in any game or whatever and just say like, yeah, I'll see who comes. Like, wow, for me, that's amazing. That must be great. Like, I'm not necessarily saying your life is great, but that alone is great. Like then you worked yourself up to something very spectacular, something very, very strong. So yeah, that's where I want to be, Joey. I want to just be able to play any tournament and feel good about it. Like,
keep working at it, Poppy. I mean, I don't know. Especially when you can sell actions. Maybe you kind of can play any tournament for the most part. It seems like.
Yeah, of course. No, I could play. I basically could play literally any tournament I want, probably if you sell enough for a certain price. It's not, but you also have to feel good about it. I don't want to play an insane like big high roller and feel like I'm behind, like on some of the field, like on most of the field. You can be behind on certain people or on a small percentage of the field, but I wouldn't mind gambling a bit and feeling like, okay, I'm probably break even in this field if it gives you a shot at a very big title or something like that. But if I know I'm losing 5%, what are you doing? Like, it doesn't really feel good either. Like, you can do it as spew. Like, if you want like a couple million, then you can just blast off. Like, okay, I'm trying to win that title. It's going to cost me a bit of money. I don't care because I have enough. But that's not the spot where I am right now. So that's not what I'm going to do.
Well, that sounds smart. Please do not blast off your money. That'd be not very GTO. Guys in the chat here, I'm gonna be back next Monday with Nick Schulman. Nick Schulman, longtime high stakes player, one of the best players in the entire world. Does a lot of the commentating for the Super High Roller Bowl as well too. So me and Nick are gonna do a pod. I think we're gonna do it together in Vegas because he lives here too. So I think he's gonna be back here. That'll be next Monday. I think Friday I'm gonna put something out on YouTube. I don't know what it is. Saturday it might do a PLO thing with me and Jane Andes, get together, talk some pop. I'm in Omaha, the great game. And yeah, we got a lot of podcasts coming up here. Stay tuned for more. If you want to follow more with young Steven, you can follow him on Twitter at SV. What is your Twitter? SVZFF, correct?
Correct, Mundo.
At SVZFF. Say that 10 times fast. I'll give you some money. And that's it. Where else can I find you? Instagram? You got Instagram too? Same thing, right?
Yeah, I have it. I don't actively post there, but mainly Twitter and Facebook or whatever. I mean, I've been sponsored before 5 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever. I was very active, but in the last couple of years, I've focused a lot on just playing and improving myself. So I'm trying not to be overly active there because it distracts me a bit.
For sure.
But yeah, who knows if I win a big title one day or something, you know, like that.
I hope you win a big title. I hope you can finally get that title you need, Poppy. I hope one day you win it because, yeah, up until this point, obviously you haven't won it yet. So even though you technically have.
Maybe one day I will win a world title. I will be a champion, you know. For now, we'll keep on grinding.
Keep on grinding. Guys in the chat, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And, let us know what you thought on Twitter, even though I realize no one actually does this. So I'm going to say if you enjoyed it, you can let us know on Twitter. Let me and Steven know. If you didn't enjoy it, tell us as well, too. And that's it. That's all I got. Peace out. Thanks for the comments, questions. Much love. Adios. And you can't see. He's flexing right now. He's see. Do it again. Give him one more flex.
Oh, ciao.
Yeah, the body of a 39-year-old man. I got to see his age. So, all right, later, guys. Adios.